Hello, dear Facebook. Welcome to free Facebook Live with Khalida. We're going live from my living room this Wednesday. As I will be doing for the coming weeks, I've decided that during the lockdown, so at least for November, I will be doing these live sessions weekly, the free ones. So welcome to free Facebook Live with Khalida. Today we will be looking for our abs. I had many requests. Hi Marianne, welcome. Many requests from students to go a little bit more in depth on the layers of the abdominals. More specifically, how to find them. Hi Anne-Marie, welcome. So today will be a bit less dance and a bit more deep in depth, and hopefully it will be helpful for dancing. I as a dancer, hi Beata, welcome. I as a dancer struggled a lot, even though it's belly dance, with the actual belly moves, because as, hi Miko, welcome. Because as dancers, we are used to, at least in the West, using our limbs to create shapes. And all of the torso movements, we do them subconsciously. So working and creating shapes, hello, with our abdominals, hello, hi Christine, hi Magdalena, it's actually quite tricky if you're not used to it. And in our current world, where we have a lot of, hi Caroline, a lot of seated work or standing work, we can get into habits of patterns where some muscles do the work of other muscles, and then it's even harder to move them. Hi Dosette, hello, welcome. Hi Mazena. So we have a good group of people going. I want to move a bit, so we will be doing a bit of a dance warm-up to start. Hi, hello. Thank you for saying hello, all of you. We will need a yoga mat. That's the only prop for today, because some of the exercises work a bit better on the floor. Now, if you want to apply what we do today to practice finding your abs and activating them. Hi Kirsty, welcome. I have a free 5-day Find Your Abs challenge that I will add the link to in a moment. Hi Helene, welcome. I will add a link to the challenge in a moment. I wasn't able to do it, I was a bit late, but it's ready and waiting for you. So if you subscribe, put your email in there. I will email you once a day for the next 5 days. Hi Aunt Cecile. And then you'll get motivation from me using this video with examples to do some ab exercises every day for the next 5 days. And you will hopefully feel a difference in your dance movements. And if you want to dance more, I recommend my own classes, the Bellywork Boost series that's coming up. It's almost sold out. We have one more spot left, but no worries. Next year, we will do Boost Online 2021, and it will be a longer series. Whoever signs up for the full thing for all 3 seasons will get streaming access to all of my Boost classes of this year, and I will write about it more in the coming weeks. But for now, let's begin. We will do a bit of a dance warm-up, then we go into all the layers of the abs. Hi Maria, how to find them, and if you have questions you can write them to me, and I will go deeper into it during our challenge and in the coming weeks. Okay, let's begin with gentle hip slides. Thank you for being here, all of you. I never know when I do Facebook Lives if I'm going to be alone. I have never been completely alone, but I'm always happy and surprised when there's people joining. So thank you. What I'm doing, I'm sliding the hips 2 times fast and 1 time slow. My elbows are rotated out and a bit lifted. And on the 3, on the slow, I move my arms and I move my head. So I'm warming up all of my parts. Same thing with the arms up. 1, 2. And with 3, I go a bit deeper. 1 and 2 and 3. And this warm up, you can do it for any type of dancing. Let me read what's there. Hi Tilly, welcome. And Camila. Okay, let's interlace the fingers. Do them opposite. So if you're used to interlacing the fingers, switch it, like in our tip drop. Press to the front and round the back. Hi Camila. Thank you for the heart. I will take off my jacket in a moment, but it's chilly today. Rounding the back and pressing. Rounding and pressing. Stretching out the back, move your head, wiggle your hips. And the same up. Up. This feels so nice. Up. Hi Manushka, welcome. Up. Now, a bit to the back. I'm moving my elbows to the back, and you might feel a bit of a stretch here. and sliding my chest to the front. So this is a martial arts inspired hand position. We do this to start and it opens up the chest. It's a good posture helper. For dance, I slide the chest to the front while my elbows move back and they're in. Quite tricky if you're not used to it, I feel it. It's a good anti-desk work exercise. So my palms are up, my elbows are in, I slide my chest out. Okay, that's it, we'll get going. I'm coming so close to read because the light is so bright. Don't want to scare you. Okay, so shake out the hands and the feet, because even though we work on the belly, it makes a difference if your limbs are moving. Everything is connected. And the way I like to teach dancing is to start from the center. So actually when I teach arm movements, we don't move just from here, where you think your arms start if you draw a stick man. The muscles connect in layers all the way across to the center, to the spine and your sternum. So if you move here, if you move your rib cage, the way your arms will move, it changes. And it's the same. Hello, Caroline, welcome. It's the same for the lower body. If you have trouble with turnout, which I know a lot of people have, and I struggle with it for ballet, it may help to activate your obliques, which is what we will do today. So test your turnout. Now, if this is something you struggle with, just check where it is. And after we do the oblique exercises, which is the diagonal muscles of the abdominals, it reacts, it works together with the hip rotators, which are hidden beneath your glutes. So the deep rotators and the obliques, the diagonal belly ab muscles, they are connected. So working on this, for me, helped with my turnout. So you never know what these exercises might help with. So first, a bit of theory. We will work from inside to out. If you've ever taken a belly work workshop with me, I have one coming up 21st of November, online this time, then you know this is how I like to work. I go through the layers of the abs and we activate or try to feel them in any layer. This way you will have a lot more understanding and mind-body connection when you dance then. Even though you're not thinking of which layer because they all move, you will hopefully have a bit more connection and that will make your movements more juicy, more smooth. So we start very deep. The most inside layer of your abdominals is actually the muscle that you use for breathing, the diaphragm. So I had to think in English. The diaphragm often is shown like this. It's a dome-shaped muscle and it runs all across your body from the front ribs. If you follow your ribs, if you want, if you don't have two cold fingers, walk your rib cage all the way back. So the lowest ribs you have, if you walk them and you press in a bit, you're actually pressing into the attachment of your diaphragm. Hello, Mayan! And here you can get muscle trigger points like you can have in your calf muscles if you are tight or if you're stressed. This is a muscle that reacts to stress. So if you're stressed, you might not be breathing as deeply as you want. And the opposite is also true. If you want to work on your diaphragm, make it more mobile and strong, then breathing is the thing you can do to make it move in the ways you want. So if you want to, you found your diaphragm, that's the edge of it. So it's not like this, it's more like this, it's bigger. It's like a real umbrella. In the back it goes deep to here, in the front it goes to here, and then it goes up. It separates your heart and lungs from the rest of your internal organs. So if you inhale, what happens is it contracts, it becomes shorter. So if this is my diaphragm, if you inhale, the muscles or the fibers contract and come together. And if you hold your inhalation strong, then you are, as you would, contracting your biceps. So you are strengthening. If you exhale, it relaxes, it lengthens the fibers, it goes up the umbrella. And this is how you stretch your diaphragm. If you want bigger flutters, or if you want to breathe more freely, usually exhaling and holding the exhalation is like stretching an arm. So let's do this. Let's strengthen and stretch our diaphragm. We inhale, fibers shorten, hold the inhalation, Inhale a bit more. That's like contracting more. Hold the inhalation. Inhale a bit more. Because you might not be using all the fibers. And inhale a bit more. Okay, you hold that, you smile. The longer you can hold it, the better. Then you exhale. This is something you can practice. And you envision this lengthening. Like an umbrella going close and up. Feel your lungs coming up. When you fully exhaled, a bit more, a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. There's more air in those lungs than you think. And then you freely inhale again. Don't do this when you're driving. Don't do this in water. But it's a very good exercise. Now you breathe. Now your upper body, if you are constricted in upper body movements, your diaphragm might play a big role in that. If you want to feel it work, this might feel a bit icky at first. Find your ribs, find your rib cage, ribs, walk out a few. And from there, it helps to bend a bit. This also helps for flutters, by the way. You press in with your fingers and try to relax. If you now strongly inhale, the outer layer of the abs contracts, but if you go to the side a bit, move more to the side, because I'm suspecting you are here, more to the side, the lower ribs, you walk in and you inhale, you might feel it. You might feel it work. I hope you feel it work. So strengthening and stretching the diaphragm, the deepest layer, and your pelvic floor will react to this, is breathing. To make it strong and fast, we can use a martial arts. I'm going deep in the deepest layer because that's one that helps a lot and is not often trained. So we try this one first. One from martial arts is a strong exhalation paired with this movement that we did. So we pull the elbow back, which opens the lung in this area. The other hand, you punch. And you don't have to punch the screen. Make sure you have distance. To make a good fist, the thumb is outside. Don't put it like here, you might break your thumb. The thumb is outside, yes? And you aim with these knuckles to the sternum of yourself if you're in front of the screen. The other hand pulls back and plant your feet. You can bend your knees a bit. You inhale here, and as you switch, this palm goes up, this one comes down. You exhale. Inhale softly, exhale strong. Inhale soft, exhale strong. Inhale soft, exhale strong. And this is like power stretching for your diaphragm. If you want to make it real martial arts, you do kiap, kamshai, battle cry. Which is really nice for the neighbors. So you do that 10 times if you're doing the challenge, and then your diaphragm will be warm and awake and you might feel a bit more mobile. So that's layer 1, the deepest, diaphragm. Layer 2 is a bit of a mix between an ab and a torso muscle, because it connects both. It is the hip flexors that I'm talking about. Yes, the psoas. I like this one because it goes so deep. It is an abdominal muscle, but it starts at the front of your spine. So if you see where my top is, I've worn different colors today. It's in the black area. So here, where the upper spine level meets the lower. There on the inside, there's 2 long muscles. It's groups of muscles actually on each side. They run parallel from the front of your spine, diagonally through your body, and then they cross the top of your pelvis and connect to the inside of the legs. So these wrap around inside, and that makes them very, very powerful for movement. And if they get tight, stuck long or stuck short, they might limit you in ways that you don't even feel. However, because they are so deep, it can be tricky to get them to move or to connect to them. For this, you need tricks. And one of the tricks you can use is gravity. So to feel them, imagine your leg is a boot and you pull this boot into your body. And as I said, because it's a diagonal line, I imagine pulling my leg into my pelvis and the line goes here. So try this. This is a bit tricky. The other exercises will be more known. But if you follow the line of my arm, so from the front of my leg to the back of my spine. Hi Linda, welcome to the geekery of abs. If you pull your leg in that way, so it's not straight up, it's not straight back, it's diagonally in, diagonally in. You use this tiny movement for the jewels also. Try it on the other side. I'm pulling my leg in. My pelvis reacts, but I try to really contract and gather this, like elastic that shortens. Other side the same. Hi Blanca, can you feel this? Those people who are doing this, can you feel this after a couple of times? A kind of activation here. You can also use your hands, by the way. So I find my pelvic bone, the top of my pelvis. I walk in 2 steps and then I walk down to the edge of my leggings. And right where the hip bone meets the inside, there's another layer of abs on top of it, so it might not be easy to feel. I go straight in and I pull this leg up. It's very subtle. You might not feel anything, but I have another exercise to try. So that's one way to load it. Other muscles are working with it, but it will co-contract. Another thing that helps is lifting your knee. Hold something for balance. Press against it and push your knee up. So I'm pressing with my hands down, I'm pressing with my knee up, I'm giving it resistance, but in a static kind of way. Yes, it can be that the muscles that are stronger, and for many people those glutes are very strong, work more. It might be that it co-contracts. Think more of the front in. Maybe that will help, maybe that will help. Or try this one, pressing with your hands and pressing with the leg against it. If you don't feel it, you might need a relaxation first, and this often happens for deeper muscles. They get tight, either long or short, and don't want to move anymore until you give them peace. And giving your hip flexors peace is a matter of biomechanics. Use a block if you have it, or just use the positions. So what I like to do to relax my hip flexors, and after that my movements are a bit more free and juicy, is lay on my back. That's why we need the mat. And if you want, you can elevate your hips. But for most people, it's more comfortable not to do it. I don't usually do it. You can use a block under the head though, or a little towel. I'll do like this because I can talk easier like this. And simply lying like this, laying down like this, with the legs bent, will get your hip flexors in a half contracted position, but in a comfortable one. And staying like this, your back is supported, so your back can be long, but it's not limited by the shortness or the tightness of your hip flexor. If you have trouble with a sway back, a pelvis that tilts back, and you get a tight back muscle, it might also be the hip flexor that is kind of stuck and not moving. And giving it a couple of minutes per day, where your back is supported by the floor, you can wiggle away the rib cage, and just letting your hip flexors be in a comfortable for them position so they don't go in a stretch resistance reflex. That might be enough to loosen them up. You can test it if you are tight by holding one knee, I'll do like this so you can see it, and see if the other leg wants to come down. If it floats like this, it might be the hip flexor and it might be the quads, or a combination of both, that's holding you back. But if you hold this for a while and move your feet, and then push the heels away and point and push and point, and switch a couple of times. So first you test, you pull and you test. You see my foot is floating, maybe you don't see it, like this, and I move my feet. This already helps because it's activating and contracting across the whole front line. My foot kind of moves towards the floor if I flex and point, flex and point. So that's one thing you can do. Another is just have patience. Put a timer for 5 minutes, lay down, think about life, and you can creep your feet more and more away. And for me, this is the only way to really relax it. And afterwards, if I move, and if I do this again, I feel it more because it's no longer stressed. Hi Linda, hi Penny, welcome. Yes, yes, yes. If you can feel it, very good. If not, give it some time, give it a couple of goes. The hip flexors, obliques, work together with the other abs in a lot of dance movements. If you have the tilted hip circle, the AMI, There's one part here and one part here, the diagonal part where it helps. But in any movement where you move your legs, so for traveling steps, your hip flexors contract and lengthen to help your legs move. They also help it rotate out and they help it lift. So anything you do with your legs, they are connected to your back. And if you have trouble here, give them a bit of love, give them a bit of gentle time to relax, and then contract them, then dance with them. All right, moving on to the third layer. This one will be a bit more familiar. Those are the transverse abs. And when I started dancing, imagine these were just a small strip of abs in the front. But there's more than that. There's more than that. That's actually a full layer from across the belly button to the back. So it starts here where your spine meets the back of the pelvis. Here, where you can see my fingers. There already the first fiber starts, so they go around you, which means they support you from the sides and the front. It's a deep layer and the fibers run in this direction, horizontal. And what this does is it helps you stabilize, and also it helps you rotate and move as well as contract. So it's a multifunctional layer, and it's hidden. It's hard to find, hard to connect to, because there's other stronger, easier layers that go around it and across it. So the deeper layer, to find it, there's a couple of exercises, lateral ones and twisty ones, where you can feel it. And once you feel it and you know where it is, it might be easier to connect to it. So let's try one. We find, hi Ingrid, so back with the hands. We find our pelvic bones on the side, so I have to press in a bit. I ate pizza yesterday, so I'm always a bit more fluffy the day after, but it's worth it. So I walk in from the pelvic bone, 2 steps, 2 finger steps. That's enough, because you feel it more. Hi Nadine, you feel the muscles a bit more at the edge where it connects to your bones. So from here, 1, 2. You press in. You might have to relax and exhale again. Once you're there, try a hip slide. A hip slide. I like the hip slide because then you feel it more, I hope. If you feel something under one finger, hello Nadine. If you feel something, press against your finger on the side where you slide. That's the transverse abs. And a little bit the layer on top. And a little bit the obliques. But the transverse abs, they do contract there. If you go in a tiny bit with the pelvis, let's walk a few steps closer to the belly button and press in deep. Now imagine coughing. the same breath movement that we did in the beginning for the diaphragm. It reacts to your breathing, so you can make, no worries Glennis, welcome. You can watch the recording after. So if you make a shield of your abs, which is something that we use in ballet for doing pirouettes, for turns, and also for belly dance turns, if you can make this not in, not out, but strong for a moment to stabilize you, that's where the transverse abs work. So if you have trouble with balance, your transverse ab fibers might be stuck a bit long or a bit short. You want them to be able to move. Every ab, you don't want it to be only strong and only flexible. You want it to be able to react, and that's the way you can dance with it. So imagine the fibers here and do a strong exhalation. Go deep in with your fingers and walk out. If you feel them react at any of the points, that's the spot you stay to feel them. And then try a pelvic tilt. You might feel it also. I make the tilt as small as possible. If I make it too big, I'm using the hip flexors and everything else. So I make this a small and subtle movement. You can still see it. And I press in a bit on the sides, otherwise the six-pack is in the way. So you want to be right where the six-pack ends and pretty low, otherwise you have the obliques. Yeah, so this one is hidden, and it's normal to not find it easily in the beginning until it connects, and then you have it forever. Also, those of you who have children, I heard from people that it might be a lot more difficult to reconnect with it, but it does heal. It just takes a bit of time. And also, if you are stressed, all muscles, all kinds of muscles contract and they get harder to communicate with. So giving yourself a bit of relaxation and time, and even just putting your hands on different parts of your body can be enough to start building a reconnection. So we'll do that. We'll keep those hands there. And I'll give you an ab exercise that makes me feel it 2 days later. So hopefully this one will be of use for you. Anything you do when you're laying on the back, where you have to keep the pelvis on the floor and the lower back on the floor, but moving the legs away, will activate your stabilizers, so your transverse abs. What I often see though is that we want to go low with the legs, we get ambitious as dancers, and then the hip flexors length will be limiting and you start moving your pelvis instead. So I want you to focus on making this as clean as possible and not as big as possible. The more you go inward into feeling whether you can notice a movement or notice something waking up, then you are doing the actual work and then you're having something of value. So don't worry about the range. Try to focus more on whether you feel something, anything, and if you don't feel anything today, check again in 2 days, because that's when the strengthening happens. Muscle soreness is what I mean. You can use your hands under your booty to give you support. And this exercise I got from Nika Mlakar, beautiful dancer, Slovenian. You move your knees away. I'm not putting my foot down, I'm putting it further away down. And what I try to touch is my heel to the floor. So as you can see, my knees are 90 degrees to start. You can hold them if this is too tiring. And then I move the knee straight away. So my heel doesn't land under, it lands further away. And the slower I do this, the more I will feel it. You can have your hands under your head or here. I made my hair into a bun, so it's hard to see. Let's do a couple, Let's do the right leg 5 times. Focusing on keeping a bit of connection, your lower back to the floor, and slowing it down. This doesn't look like much, but if you do it super slow, that's when you feel it. You might also feel activation across the back, because this muscle fiber runs, as I said, around you, around your waist almost. Other side. 5, but slow ones. It's like the push-up challenge. It doesn't look like much, and just 1 rep it can smoke you. If you don't feel this, don't worry, I have another one, another level coming up for you. I feel this if I do it with focus, and if you're still learning it, it might take a while. If you want to go deeper, this is one that I really feel very deeply. Try both legs at the same time. And I'm already shaking. Can you feel this? I know if you're doing it, you cannot type, but let me know afterwards. If you do both legs, so not straight down, the knees travel away, tap, and come back. The knees travel away, tap, come back. Let's do 5. Travel away, tap, and smile. Try to breathe. Don't use the diaphragm for this one. And last one. Oh my god. So even though I do martial arts and we'd have a lot of ab exercises, this one, because it's not a natural for me. No one's typing. Are you doing it? Can you feel this? Now try pelvic locks. Omis. And you might feel those hip flexors and the transverse abs running here a bit more. If not, no worries, I have more exercises. So after this, oh, I see a heart, thank you, Miko. So after we have the diaphragm, deepest layer, hip flexors, the layer on top, transverse abs, 3rd layer, the 4th would be a double one, and that's the obliques. It's like a cross running over the previous layer. So we have an X running from the ribs to the opposite side of the pelvis. And if you read books, you might see them as upper obliques and lower obliques. Hi, hello, Helene. But actually the fibers, they are separated here by the linea alba. Continue on the other side. So it's a movement pattern. The upper obliques on one side work together with the lower obliques on the other. So you could see this as one band and then one here. Only these are the top and the others go deeper. Yes, it is. I'm a bit of a geek for movement, but it has actually helped me also to move better, to train with more consciousness. So I hope it may be of help for some of you too. As said before, if you want to go deeper, you can take my workshop on 21st of November. I'll get the recordings. If you sign up for the Tip Drops membership, which is free, you can do the workshop for free as well. And if you sign up for my Boost 2021 program, you also get the workshop for free. Hi Karin, welcome. So I'll put the links down here as soon as I finish, but let's move first. So the obliques, the diagonal ab muscles, most of you know them, but I did not know that it was actually the upper and lower one team on each side. And these you can also feel with lateral movements, sliding the chest, sliding the hips, as well as twist. Because it runs like this, you would feel opening and contraction with slides, but also when you twist. Makes sense, because it lengthens and shortens like this, but also like this. Playing with this is very good for drum solos. So let's find them. Find your ribs. I walk down, not the floaty ones, but the last real ribs, the ones that connect to your sternum. Walk in 2 steps and slide your rib cage. If you don't feel it, you can walk a bit lower, along the same line, sliding, or walk a bit out. So it's in this area, side to side. And if all goes well, the upper ones, when sliding the chest, you feel it on the opposite side. When I slide there, I feel them here. Yes? I hope so. Yes. If you slide the hips, you feel it on the same side because it's a diagonal line. So if I slide there, the resistance will be on the opposite finger. If I slide my hip out, it will be when the hip goes in the same direction. Same thing when you go to the lower obliques, which are hands on the hips, where the fingers end. Press deep, slide the chest. You'll feel it on the opposite side, so a bit of resistance against the fingers, hopefully. And as you slide the hips, it's on the same side. If I slide right, I feel it here. That's my right. If I slide my left, I feel it here. Chest, it's the opposite. Yes. I'll have fingerprints all over my belly, and so will you. So that's where it works. Try a twist. For me, I feel it on the same side. When I go up, upper body, opposite side. All right, so we have diaphragm, deepest layer, hip flexors, or running on top of them, transverse abs, running from the back actually to the front, and now the obliques like an X on top of that. To strengthen obliques, there's many exercises, but one that I feel really deeply, and it helps me with side kicks for Taekwondo. This I learned in a ballet workshop. So it's good to have cross-training, input from different sides. So I want you to try this one, because that helps me, and it helped my husband to feel it work. The setup is a bit, not complicated, but hard to explain in words, so I hope you can see it. I have my legs bent, I'm on the floor, and my rib cage, I twist it and I slide it to the side. So from here, I'll show you, I slide it to the side with my chest, and then I twist, and that's my starting position. So again, on the other side, I slide my chest to the side, and then I tilt it, so my rib cage and hips come together. From this awkward position, so I slide and I tilt, the hand on this side will reach for the opposite knee. And I don't yank myself up. What I do is I scoop under, and from below I try to put the back of my fingernails on my knee. And from there, to not use my neck muscles instead of my abs, I use my free hand to support my head, and I try to make my head heavy. And this is super important. The more you can relax your neck, the more you will learn to isolate and use your abdominals without using your face and your head, and your dancing will look and feel more relaxed. So even while you're doing this, it's not about how many repetitions you do, it's how consciously you do it and how much you're able to relax what doesn't need to work. And then your practice goes deeper and will be a lot more efficient. So from here, I hope this made sense. I'm sliding my ribcage to one side. I tilt down on that side. That arm goes to the opposite knee and my free hand supports my head. I just let it lay down. I have to remind myself to do this. And then I try to reach for my knee, but not over. I reach under. My shoulder goes down to the floor, and from there I reach, and it gives me a good deep I feel something. And this you can do 5 times. For the challenge we will do more. Other side the same. Can you feel this? Can you tell me if you feel this? Hi Dawijn. Hi Sabine. Yes. Okay, other side. I hope you can feel this. I know if you're on the floor you cannot type. So first I slide my ribcage to the side. Oh, someone wrote something. Hi Maria, welcome. Welcome from the north. So I slide to the side, I tilt, and then this arm that is tilted low reaches for the opposite knee. But I don't go over, I go under. And I support my head with my free hand. I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm not even looking at my knee. And I'm not able to reach my knee. I'm not that freakishly flexible yet. But I feel it. If I don't feel it, I might be crossing over. If I scoop under, I'm aiming for under my knee. Then I feel it a lot more and I cannot go as high up. And that's a great way to wake up your obliques on the side. So a bit more on the side than when you do the bicycle. The bicycle is a really good one, but it goes a bit more across in the front. If you want to feel the sides, which are fibers that we sometimes don't really target with the regular ab exercises, I recommend doing a combination of different ones. But this one, for me, found some fibers that were not active before. Okay, let's do one more for the obliques, because different people feel it in different ways. And this one I learned from Monica Volkmar of Canada. She's a very good movement specialist. For this, we are going to stabilize our hips. I have my shin lined up with the mat, and it's 90 degrees. So a 90-degree angle, my foot is flexed, 90 degrees. I try to sit straight. I may fall a bit to the side, so I support myself with my hand to start. This leg, I bring it back, so it's also a 90-degree angle here. And again, this pushes me a bit towards this side, which is normal. Shin is parallel with this foot. Foot is flexed. All of this to put me in a nice and stable position. From there, where my hip is, where my hand is, I walk out and I place my elbow right under my arm. Here, if I let myself hang, my ear and my shoulder will meet. I pull away and already I feel a bit of activation under my armpit. But that's not yet the exercise, that's a preparation. So I pull away. You can do this a couple of times. It's a good shoulder exercise. You keep this distance. Now the exercise comes. The free hand reaches to the front and you imagine something that you really want. World peace. Health for everyone. You reach for it so much that your hip leaves the floor without the feet moving. So you reach and you come back. You rotate and reach, you come back. Reach even further and you come back. So my lower hip kind of floats, but I'm not cheating with the feet. Let's do 2 more. Last one. And you smile. And the last 2 are the ones that I feel. And this is what I recommend people figuring out how many repetitions of an exercise to do. Yes. I recommend just feeling yourself which side, how early do you feel it. If you feel it, do a couple more with feeling. And if the other side you don't feel it until you do more, do a couple until you feel it and there. The part that needs a bit more strength, you start with that one, then you go to the stronger side, and then you go back to the first one, and this way you can even it out. It's very good to know if one side you feel more than the other, because knowing this already helps to balance it out. A lot of our posture issues are just matters of losing connection a bit, and reconnecting, it'll tell you a lot, but it already starts changing it. Same thing here. 90 degrees, a lot of talking. Parallel with the mat, perpendicular with the mat, foot is flexed. I bring this knee back so it's 90 degrees here as well. 90 degrees here, so my heel comes to the front. It looks like this. I support myself with my hand. I walk out the same line as my hips, elbows down. And this is a small side plank. If you do side planks and then try to turn out, that's what I was talking about. It will help you with the hip rotators. Let's do a couple of shoulder push aways. Shoulder push away. I'm pressing it down and making space here. Keep it. Free hand reaches for whatever you want for yourself and the world and your loved ones. Reach so far that is a stretch in your shoulder, and then reach further, so you have to lift this hip off the floor and come back. Lift this hip. We're using body weight training. And it also doesn't look like much, but when you do it, for me, starting 5 times, I start feeling a little, but my other side is the one that I feel it earlier. So make note of this. This is very good to know, and it will get stronger and more even pretty fast. So one more. This one I need to do a couple more to feel it. Yes. Okay. So those 2 exercises are very good ones to warm up and activate, wake up your obliques. Yes. Thank you so much. I like spreading knowledge because it helps dancers for the rest of their lives. Once you know it, you can give this information to others, and also you can do any training that you do with more understanding, and that makes everything more efficient. Hi, Davian. Okay, one more thing. One more layer 5, and that's the one we all know. Hi, Mireille. You can rewatch the video afterwards. I will post it in the group and on YouTube. So the six-pack, the rectus abdominis, the muscles that you see because they are the outermost layer, and these are the ones that are interesting for belly rolls, for instance, but also for bodybuilders. Those are the ones they want you to see. Yes, it's actually not a 6-pack, it's an 8-pack, because you have the separation lines. There's 3 of them, so it makes 1, 2, 3, and a lower pack. So you have actually an 8-pack. That to the side. These are the easiest to train because they involve the well-known contraction on the front and expanding. But what is difficult is to stretch these. Yes, there's a lot going on there, isn't it? It blew my mind when I first knew this, but since then, you never unknow, you know it forever. So the outer layer, the rectus abdominis, this one is also interesting for coin rolls, which we will do in the boost classes. Anyway, any sit-up type exercise that you do, it will make this layer work. But also, like in all the other layers, there might be one part that is working more than the other, or compensating, or just got stuck in some pattern and isn't firing as freely as you want it to. This can also be connected to your back. So if your back is tight and your front is not active, you can reverse it by strengthening the front. Your back might relax because it doesn't need to compensate to give you movement. Also, if you're not flexible up here, this might be because your body doesn't feel safe. And if you get stronger in the deeper layers, the top layer might let go more and give you more freedom. So it's all connected. I always recommend doing exercises that target everything. And I will show you one that for me targets everything. But going deep and trying to find and activate and maybe target strengthen a couple of sleepy fibers in any layer that you might is very valuable to get started and to reconnect anything that might have gotten off track or fell asleep in life. It happens. For me, it was the glutes and my right obliques that had been asleep for almost 10 years, and this had an influence on my posture. After I knew this and was able to work with it, my posture kind of took care of itself, and now it's more maintenance that I need to do. I don't have to work as hard, I just need to do a bit of exercise every week and then it's better. Hi Sabine. So, all this talking, let's work on the rectus abdominis, a way to feel the upper part, because the lower part is already covered in the other one. And then we'll do one for both. So for the upper part, to wake it up really well, another exercise from Thierry, from a ballet workshop that I took. Again, we are on the floor. And I like this exercise because it includes stretching the abs. And I find the abs tricky to stretch without my back contracting too much. So what we did in the class was, instead of just crunching, we uncrunch first. So we lift the rib cage away from the floor and my sternum, I pointed up. And this already gives me a nice deep stretch here. And if you don't do this regularly and only contract, you might start feeling less and less movement. So every now and then, give your fibers the opposite experience. If you stretch first, you can contract more deeply and more fibers will work. So you will get actually stronger by stretching the abs in between. So what we do? We uncrunch, we lengthen first, then we bring this together. The rib cage presses into the floor. It presses so deeply into the floor that my shoulders come off. So I'm not going up, I'm just pressing this together. And I try to have my head, again my neck relaxed. So you can have your hands here. But then it's tempting to push your head. You want your head to float. So from here, lengthen, uncrunch. I'm stretching, my rib cage leaves the floor. Then I exhale to help. And then from here I keep breathing normally. I contract more the front until my shoulders leave the floor and my arms leave the floor a bit. But I keep my neck long. And that's hard work to keep the neck long and not up like a turtle. Yes? So I send my ears there and I come back down. Again, stretch. And then come down. Contract so much that your shoulders kind of leave the floor, but your neck stays long. And you smile. Again, I have to watch my hair, that's what I'm doing with my hand. Up again. My ribcage leaves the floor, I stretch. This is good for flutters, by the way, Sophie, if you're watching. Then, again, because I'm stretching all the layers, not just the one layer. I contract so much that my shoulders leave the floor, but my ribs stay on the floor, just the shoulders. My neck, I relax it. 2 more. Stretch. You might not feel it now, but you might feel it in 2 days. And ribcage on the floor. So much, my sternum goes up, but straight up. My arms leave the floor. My neck is long. My ribcage is glued to the floor. Last one, I stretch. Ribcage off the floor. And again, down, 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 down. Neck is long, neck is long. Contract. Arms float, head floats, and your legs. And you straighten out again. So this one is different from a normal crunch because we're not moving the whole body up. We're statically contracting, but so much that this shortens here. And then we lengthen it. And that is very good also if you struggle with flutters or your diaphragm because it stretches and contracts along with it, as well as the upper layer of the obliques. Now, let's do 2 exercises for all of the abs, all of them. And these you will feel probably a lot, maybe 3 exercises. These you will feel after doing all the other ones. So for camels, to start the camel, the area we just moved might be nice and warm. And for chest circles and upper body isolations for you, Miko, this crunching and stretching the upper body on the floor with gravity is a very good one. Now we work the full length of the rectus abdominis and the obliques and the lower abs in one exercise. Your diaphragm as well if you're breathing. So from here, we're going to round our back and roll up. Let me read. Yes. Okay. It's true. There's a lot we can do. So from here, I'm rounding my back, I'm holding my legs and rolling up. Rounding my back and lengthen. So it's the same thing, but with more fibers, with the full length of my rectus abdominis. I lengthen to stretch it, and then I round my back to contract. And when my booty lifts, that's for the transverse abs. So I'm doing everything except obliques. That will come in the next one. So rounding for rectus abdominis. Rolling but lifting the booty for transverse abs. And then coming up to stretch. Round, lift, up, stretch. To add obliques, as you stretch, you punch, diagonal. Then you have all the layers of the abs. So you round, lift, stretch, diagonal, diagonal. Round and lift, you come up, you stretch, 1, 2. Let's do 2 more. Round, lift, stretch, 1, 2. Last one, stretch, 1, 2. And this should give you a tingly feeling all over because all of the layers have been working together. Second one, but a very mean version of this one. It goes deeper in the transverse abs. Is you make the lever longer. Your hands will be behind your back and not around the knees anymore. And your legs, you will straighten them out a little. This you can do gradually. So you bring the hands from here to here to here to here to here to here to level it up. And the legs from here to here to here to here to here to here to level it up. And you just try how far you can go. And this we will do in the challenge as well. So first one we roll, small. Second, hands up, legs a bit longer. Third one, hands at the ears, legs a bit longer. And now you might feel it already more. Now the elbows wide and legs straight. Trying not to touch the feet on the floor. And just smile. So this is everything except obliques, but deeper. Smile. My husband loves this one. It took me a while to be able to do this and talk. So that's one for more resistance. To add the obliques, this one is also very mean. You lift the feet, you lift the hands in the ballet first position. This still looks innocent, but from there, you're going to lengthen the legs, I'll do like this, and lengthen your body until your side hits the floor, and then you contract again in the same position without putting your hands down. Can you do this? You might be able to do this, and then lucky you, but for me it took weeks and weeks and weeks before being able to do this just once. Now I can do a couple, but not many. So from here, I lengthen the legs and I lean to one side, and then I come back up again with no hands. Let's do 3 on each side. Slow. The slower the better. And this will work the obliques that we did not work on the previous one. But it also uses the rectus abdominis and the transverse abs in a slightly different pattern. Okay, the other side. I'm having trouble talking already. 1. And you come back. You lengthen. Come back. Last one, last one. Otherwise it might not work again. Okay, so that one I feel. How was that one? You're welcome. Yes, so yes, I'm going over time. I'm going to fill the hour to give you one more this way. This is an extended version this week. Next week we will have back a half hour normal with dance. But for now, I think this is important information. So one more ab exercise for you to play with after doing all the others. And this one we did in our Posing for Pictures workshop. I call it the walking bear. And now that our abs are nice and warm, you will feel it better and it will be a bit easier to keep posture. So what you do is hands and feet, trying to make yourself into a table so you can round the back. You can do cat-cow. In the middle is where you want to be. And from there, my shoulders, I lengthen them. So I think the spine towards the ceiling to give myself a bit of stability. So I don't hang, I make the spine meet the ceiling. My tailbone, I move it. And I move like this, just to feel. This is also a very good awareness exercise. From there, my toes, I curl them under. I lift my knees 1 millimeter from the floor. Like this, I feel my abs suddenly wake up. They are stabilizing what's happening. And then you can try lifting one foot, lifting one hand, lifting one hand and one foot. And if it's easy, you crawl. But for most people, for me, holding the spine towards the ceiling, holding this in the middle, and then lifting the knees a millimeter, that's already enough to feel everything working. And that's how babies, yes, I know, that's how babies crawl. They're able to do this, and they get a very strong core and very good movement patterns from the ground up. We can learn from them actually to repattern our movement and to give ourselves a better connection with the abs. Okay, yes, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it from, I would say, belly work input for me. We will move to one more song, just a bit of cool down and movement to round it out. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. Let me know which one you could feel and if anyone you could not feel. And let me know which one is your favorite. And I will put this in our challenge. So for those who just tuned in, I will today start a 5-day challenge, Find Your Abs, where I will send you an email with one of these every day. And on the last day, we do everything. This way you will keep working with it. Otherwise, you do it once, like today, and then it's lost. So we'll break it up into 5 pieces, and then we'll get moving. And you've been moving for a week. On Monday, you will feel different. To my Boost students, on Monday, 16th, we start with belly work Boost. To those who want to join my Boost classes but were not able to do it this year, in a few weeks, I will open early registrations for my Boost program 2021. If you want to sign up early, go to my page, which I will share in a moment. It's subscribepage.com/boost2021. And there you get early access. You can sign in already before January, but you pay next year. You pay in January. This way I know that you're there, and I know that you can join me, and I can start preparing and getting excited with you. So we have the challenge starting today. You can sign up for early enrollment access for Boost 2021, and you can sign up for my tip drops to get anatomy tips every Friday, but it will be short. Tip drops, Boost participants, and Boost 2021 early sign up people. All of you will get free access to my 2-hour belly work with dance workshop 21st of November. So that's all. Now we dance. Otherwise, I had to say it first, otherwise I would forget. I hope you will feel this today and tomorrow, and that you'll feel strong and mobile by doing all these exercises. Thank you for joining me for this kind of geeky episode. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll address them in the next weeks. I will be doing Facebook Lives every Wednesday in November because of the lockdown, so you have something to do on Wednesdays. Thank you very much. I love that I get to use the input, the great classes I get from martial arts and ballet in belly dance, and then I get to share this with other people because it's something very valuable that I was not sure how to share. And doing these online classes and the Boost classes really is a nice way for me to process all the information and for others to work with it and discover it as well. So let's try figure eights. You might feel them a bit more. 1, 2, and 3. Again, I'm doing small, small, and a bit deeper with the twist. Small, small, deeper. Other side. And deep. 1. Yes, the time will be 11 to 1. So 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon, 2 hours. Let's do a big figure eight. 1, 2. I hope this answers your question. It's Central European time, so Berlin time if you look it up on Google. I like this time because then even in Japan, it's still not night. It's a bit harder for the US. Let's do figure eights. Up, in, down. Up, in, down. Yes, I will also make an event, so it's a bit easier to put in the agenda. 21st of November, 11 o'clock. 2 hours. It's very hard to talk and do this figure eight at the same time. Hi, Samin. So, okay, I'll do one more song. I want to try out all of my isolations. So hopefully when doing figure eights, now you can feel the obliques a little bit, or any other part that was asleep before this class. Let's try a camel. First just the upper body, and the middle. I will be doing more ab classes on Wednesdays because that will be the theme for our boost series starting Monday. And then try just the abs, holding my hands on my hips. That's a good way to practice. I'm immobilizing my shoulders, immobilizing my hips. Hello Brussels! Hi Sabine, welcome. Reverse. Also not possible to talk and do. Out, in, blop, blop, blop. Now freestyle a bit, focusing more on anything you can feel. Because the abs, they move with everything. Even when we step, it's all in the belly. Even when we turn, we stabilize. Or when we sit back. The hips for the obliques. And that's also my mission for myself and others, that after this month I will feel my abs more and use them more in the movements that I know. Thank you too. Yes. You will have a nice kickstart. And then you can play with it forever. And share it with others too. Go to the side, other side. Finale, freestyle. Try some circles. And pose. That's it from me. A full hour of Kalida. I know some of you had to go earlier, so you will find this video later. I will start adding the links right now. Thank you very much. You will have the link to the challenge, the 5-day challenge, the link to tip drops if you're not a member yet, it's free, link to the Boost 2021 early enrollment, and from there you will get a free access to the workshop. You can pay for the workshop also, but that will be from next week. So before that, I want to give the people who want to do it for free a bit of time to sign up for the other things. Wishing you a beautiful evening or day and week, and I'll see you soon. I hope. Bye-bye.